Good afternoon to you all in Statesboro, Georgia. I'm so delighted and excited that each and every single last one of you all came out to support the Saving Our Youth event that's passing through Statesboro, Georgia. And I know you all are here to possibly find some reasoning behind some situations, some answers to your questions, and most of all, to try and save your youth. And trying is a wonderful word that I believe should be cherished and honored. That's why I appreciate Mr. Ken Osborne and Ms. Zariya Roberts. You know why? Because they try. And I can appreciate someone who tries and ends up failing or succeeding. But I can never appreciate someone who does not try at all. And that's exactly what I'm going to need from each and every last one of you all in this room today, is the willingness to try. However, before we begin, I must introduce myself. My name is William McClain Jr. I have been born and reared in Augusta, Georgia my entire life. I'm a 15-year-old student at the Early College Academy at Laney High School in Augusta, Georgia. And this past school year, had a lot of academic success. Had all A's, 4.0 GPA, #1 ranking in my class. And I earned a score of a 1280 on the SAT as a freshman. Also on the extracurricular side, I stand as a representation of my entire school. I played varsity and junior varsity football, and I was the #1 singles tennis player on my tennis team. And some personal endeavors that I have are meeting elected officials, such as the district attorney, the solicitor general, some commissioners, the mayor, state representatives, state senators, and chairmen of organizations and boards. Also, I like speaking at events such as like this, a rally. Also, speaking at camps, football, basketball, and then speaking at professional events. I do that. And then also, I like creating my own events, such as the Youth Platform. This is where young aspiring politicians between the ages of 15 and 18 years old come together to speak about the largest policy issues in the federal, state, and local levels of government. And we'll be speaking about some large issues that'll be important at the polls November 2020. And most of all, I like making a change. I like making a change in my city, in my state, in my region, in my country, and in my world. Now, since we're done with introductions, I can explain what I'm doing on the other side of the screen. So right now, I'm either on a plane or on the ground in Chicago, Illinois, to spend some time with some distant family members that I get to see rarely. Also, I knew that I must create a speech that's tailored and customized to Statesboro, Georgia. I could have brought up my Waynesboro speech. I could have brought up my Augusta speech. I could have brought up the speech that I did at a commission's meeting about eliminating the gap between the older and younger generations. I could have did that. But I knew the least that I could have done for Statesboro, Georgia is create a speech that's tailored to you all. So last week I got in contact with this young woman by the name of Zariya Wadley. And I have knowledge that she's been living in Statesboro for 2 years now. And when I got in contact with her, I just simply asked her one question. What is the biggest problem for the youth in Statesboro, Georgia? And at first she had a little bit of difficulty answering the question. But then she finally gave me some of the biggest problems for the youth in Statesboro, Georgia. And yes, that's correct. Biggest problems. So there's just not one problem that sticks out over all the other ones. There's not one problem that protrudes out over every other problem. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly normal. I know every city in Georgia, every city in the United States doesn't have just one problem that's more important than any other problem for the youth in their city. And now, I don't want that to make you all say, oh, okay, well, we're just like everybody else. Everybody else got problems. We're good. We don't need to fix them. No. Instead, it should make you all say, okay, now it's time to tighten up. The first problem she brought to me was that adults and teenagers were killing each other over the jealousy they had towards each other. And then now this is the jealousy over materialistic things that they were jealous about, such as cars, houses, chains, jewelry, girls, things like that. They wanted to kill each other over something like that because I don't possess that. Because I want what you have. Or if I can't have it, you can't have it. That type of mindset to where it's the jealousy part. And then now this jealousy stems off of things to where it's all about me. And then I want you all to look at this really quickly. You all see my 3 watches? See my 3 watches? See my Cuban link chain? You see my Beats headphones? You see my JBL speaker? And you see this flash drive on this keychain with some very sensitive information on it? Yeah. You see this trash can? That's how quickly it can be gone. That's how quickly these items that you're mad about can be taken out of the equation. And also I want you all to understand that it's not just about the jealousy over materialistic things. You can also have jealousy over the intangibles, the things that are unable to be grasped. You have jealousy over those, such as honesty, bravery, courage, good work ethic, family mindset, good morals. And most of all, this is the most important one because most people are jealous about this. That's the huge intangible, and that's praise. Let that sink in. That's praise. And so if we just look at the materialistic things really quickly, like I was saying, many times people, they take each other's lives over these materialistic things, the cars, the girls, the chains, the jewelry, even though it can be taken away just like that because I don't possess it, or I want what you have, or if I can't have it, then you can't have it. That type of mindset. That type of mindset over the jealousy of things. And then also it's the same as that way with the intangibles. But now I have a question. When they're making these houses, when they're making these cars, when they're making these flash drives, when they're making these chains, when they're making these watches, when they're making these headphones right here, right? I got a question. Do they only make one of them? No. Right? They don't make one of a specific item. Even if it's special edition, like a 1 out of 200 Lamborghini. There's still a possibility for you to go out there and obtain that. There's still that possibility for you to go out there and get it and get after it. Many billionaires, they couldn't just sit still and say, oh, he's making a lot of money. I'm so jealous. Instead, they got off their butts. They went out there to go get it, and they got it done. So now I want you all to take a second and view this clip that I'm.
But a lot of working women, such as yourself, working mothers, participate in the job market.
Yes, that's right. Well, particularly in the United States, the majority of mothers do work here. 57% of mothers with infants are in the labor force, and that percentage rises as the children get older. For some, going back to work is a choice, but for others, it's a necessity. Maternity leave in the U.S. is often unpaid, and of course, childcare costs are very high here. But whatever the reason, one thing that most working mothers can relate to is this feeling of guilt.
Mornings can be frantic for working mom Jennifer Kuzi. Her 3 kids need breakfast, and she needs to get ready for work. It's a routine she's used to. After her oldest daughter was born, she went back to work a week later. When she had twins, she took 3 months off, unpaid. Her decision to go back to work as a family lawyer was partly born out of necessity, but it's a choice that makes her feel guilty.
You can't help but look at other people and what they're doing. And I see moms who are with their kids all the time, and my kids don't have that. So part of me feels guilty about that, that I can't be the one to, kiss their boo-boo when they fall during the day, or if something goes wrong, I'm not the one to give them a hug. It's constantly something I'm managing and struggling with, and I don't know that I have answers, just kind of take it day by day.
For many working mothers, it's a daily struggle between financial necessity and maternal instinct. Nikita Singhal, a mother who works in finance, says her priorities changed instantly after having her son.
It was incredibly hard after maternity leave to, leave my son and again go back to work, and it's such a strong bond and attachment that completely takes you by surprise, and so I'd be remiss to say that there's not guilt. I think you feel that every day.
Like a majority of working mothers in the U.S., Nikita and Jennifer would prefer to work part-time. But for many, that's not an option. Nikita's solution to finding work-family balance has been to start her own healthy snacks business so she can set her own schedule.
I still want to go out there and conquer the world, but I want to be at home and be able to cook and feed my son nutritious food, be there the first time he walks, the first time he talks. And so it's, for me, realizing that a 9-to-6 job really isn't going to do it anymore.
As you all can see from the clips, these are two single mothers who are working and who are unable to stay there with their kids. Even though they see these stay-at-home mothers who are there to be able to watch their children grow up, watch them take their first step, hear them say their first word. And they see all of this, but they still go up and get it because they have to provide financially to make sure that everything is all right, to make sure that they have a comfortable growing up. And as you can see, the last mother there, she decided to aim for a business. She decided to do something that she was interested in, something that she really liked doing, and it would be able to help benefit her to where she's bringing in money and she's staying at home doing her job from home and also watching her son grow up. She got up. She went after it. Both of them got up no matter what they saw, no matter what they saw from other places. They got up and they went after it because they knew that they had to find a way. And this is very relatable to everybody because you've seen a single mother understand that they have to find a way, and they end up finding that way. And the next problem she brought to me was that success is also killing many adults and teenagers. And this really ties into jealousy, but I'll be speaking on the end of the person that the jealousy confronts. So many times, if we like to admit it or not, we decide to work for something, to push for something, so we could just flaunt it off, which is fine because you worked hard for it. You sacrifice to acquire these items to show off, to flaunt, to have a type of lifestyle that people wish that they could live. Sometimes we just get items just because we want it. And still, if you really worked hard and you sacrificed to get something, people are going to be jealous of it. Because if you didn't work hard to get something, ain't nobody going to be jealous of it. Because then it's easy to get. But now since you worked hard for it, people, they'll be jealous of it. And what happens is when you flaunt it off, sometimes you don't even have to flaunt it off. It unintentionally puts a target on your back for those people who want what you have. So now with this success, you've done good by acquiring these items, but now you have a target on your back. And rappers, they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on chains, on cars, on houses, on jewelry, on watches. But then when they perform at a show, they get a chain snatched. Or they lose the jewelry. Or they damage the jewelry. And these are just investments to them. And these are people that you would consider successful because they have the money, they have the houses, they have the cars, they have the bling, right? But then I realized something. On the other hand, I realized something about 4 or 5 years ago. I asked my father, Dad, why don't billionaires show off their money? Why don't they buy flashy jewelry? They can easily afford it. It's This is a dip in the bucket for them. Why don't they show it off? And he told me this. Son, they're beyond showing off their success. They're willing to spend $100,000 on an investment or give it to charity. They're on another level. And these are billionaires that you would definitely consider more successful than any rappers, any 21 Savage, any Gucci. You would consider them way more successful than them, than any successful dope dealer, than any successful athlete, than any average Joe that spends his money on Gucci and Louis Vuitton and all these other name brands. They're definitely more successful than possibly all of them combined. Right? But the thing is, I noticed something. Rich people stay rich because they spend like they're broke. Broke people stay broke because they spend like they're rich. And now I'm going to take another second. I need you all to view these pictures that I'm about to show you. Question. Did you all see their attire? Did you see the non-exclusive watches that they had on? Some of those watches were worth $50, at most $100. And that was Bill Gates, who owns Microsoft. And that was Jeff Bezos, who owns Amazon. Multi-billionaires. That's how the 1% dresses. Because those people that are successful mentally, physically, financially, spiritually, they don't wear their success all the time on their sleeves. That's again, they don't wear their success on their sleeves. And then I want the youth in here today to understand, you don't always have to show off. You don't always have to brag about your success. You don't. And I want you all to just remember, the rich stay rich because they spend like they're broke. The broke stay broke because they spend like they're rich. And finally, the most important problem I feel that she told me out of all the topics I talked about was revenge, also known as retribution. And now I possess this anger towards someone to where I have to handle it the way that I feel is correct. You've done something to me, I have to do something to you. It's almost like this tit for tat game. Because this happened to me, this is going to happen to you. I lost a life, now you're going to lose a life. And what really backs up revenge, what really backs up retribution is that pride. Ooh. And I talked about pride at the Waynesboro 7 Youth event a little bit over a month from right now. And pride is a lethal, a deadly characteristic. And it really backs up and fuels our need to get even. And sometimes our need to get that one step over. So now I'm going to stop again. I want you all to view this last clip.
Look, don't follow me, man. Go your own way.
So every everyone remembers this scene. This is the scene from Boys in the Hood where Ice Cube and his friends are out looking for the 3 young men who decided to take Ricky's life early in the movie. Now, all they have is revenge on their mindset. They're thinking 1 life for 3 lives. So now they want to go back out and kill these young men, and they're taking the entire ordeal into their hands and considering and providing what they consider justice. And now they're taking the lives of sons, of brothers, of nephews, of cousins, of uncles, and lives of fathers, because they considered this justice, and because they were angry, which what the 3 young men did by taking Ricky's life was horrible, was a heinous thing for them to do. But now we know for sure 4 lives were taken that day. And then there's this Bible verse that really sticks out to me when it comes to revenge. What that Bible verse is, in the New International Version, Proverbs chapter 3, 5 through 6 verses. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him in all ways, and he will make your path straight." I believe my brother got killed because it lean not on your own understanding. Well, I got to go fight her because she said this about me. Submit to him in all ways. Well, I don't believe the police are going to handle this the way that I want to handle. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And once again, remember, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. Submit to him in all ways, and he will make your paths straight. And most of y'all in here today probably thought that I tailored this speech towards the adults in here. And that's correct, because the problems I was informed on, they happen to me. They seem that they happen because of the trickle-down effect. The adults, the older male figures, the relatives in these children's lives and the next generation's lives, they have these actions. They have these feelings, and then it trickles down to the children, so they think that, oh, since they have it, it's okay for us to have it. And I'm here to say, it's time to tighten up for the older relatives, for the male figures, for the mentors, for the adults in the children's of the next generation's lives. It's time for you to put up on your grown-up pants, because you're not just here to provide for them financially. You're not here to provide for them through getting them a house, getting them food. You're here to provide for them mentally, emotionally, physically. You're here to provide them those nutrients so they're able to grow up into successful, law-abiding citizens. These will turn into citizens who have plans, who have future careers, and who have goals that they can follow. And I'm speaking to the youth right now. Listen to me. There are going to be some adults, if not most of the adults, that will not change. They're that stubborn. But now, you have to take it upon yourself and say, I want to better myself. You have to want to create a better future for yourself. You want to have to aim for higher goals. I want you to go to a mirror and look in that mirror and say, I will hold myself, or I put it upon myself to become a better person. I put it upon myself to have goals. I put it upon myself to stop cursing, to stop smoking, to stop fighting, to stop doing all of these illegal activities that I could possibly go to jail for when I become an adult. I put it upon myself to become a more responsible and accountable individual. I thank you all for coming out to the Saving Our Youth event in Statesboro. I'm sorry and I apologize, and I really wish I could have been there to see you all in person. And I just want to thank you all for coming out and supporting in any possible way that you can. This is a great event. This is a great tour. Support in any possible way that you can. You all have a nice day, a blessed day. God be with you all.